turned this down last night. Can you hear me now, Melba? Give me a 1 or a yes or something if you can hear me now. Let me see if I can fix that over here. Me and microphones. We're having issues. All right. Yes, perfect. Okay. All right. So we're going to get back to it. Let's talk about insulin resistance in a very simple form. Let's see if I can get it shorter than ever. What's really happening is we have too much glucose coming into our system. Glucose is an energy source for our system. Proteins and carbohydrates give us glucose. That's what they break down to in our system. Now, if we have more than 1 teaspoon of that in our system, our body says, "Oop, that's too much. We're going to cause problems." And it asks the pancreas to create this hormone called insulin to come out, because insulin is a number of things. But one of the things I'm going to talk about the most is insulin is an energy transport system. It also unlocks the cell door to deliver the energy. It's not the source of energy for the system. It's just the transport. It's just like the tanker truck is not the source of the fuel that it drops off. It just is the transport. That's what insulin does. But so why is this happening? When we're eating foods, and all of our foods are imperfect. If you were on my live last night, you got to see some of the things, and there was actual pictures of how a peach used to be like this size, and now it's bigger than my fist, because we've stripped fibers and phytonutrients and vitamins and minerals out of it. Now there's not the same nutritional value in that peach as there used to be. Those things are converting to sugar too quickly in our system. So our system is getting inundated with high doses of sugar really rapidly. So whether it's organic food or whether it's boxed food, this is happening. Yes, trying to eat more organic and whole foods is going to help. Right? I'm not saying that's not true. That's true. The less we can eat boxed and processed foods, the better. Okay? That's absolutely true. But it was also brought up, and I agree with this completely, we're in a very fast-paced world. We're in a world that just we're not all on a homestead anymore, growing our own food and creating, we have a very different life. So for most of us, it's going to be that we're going to end up facing those foods at some point. So the trick becomes regulating the insulin. And I skipped a whole step. So the sugar goes up, the insulin goes up to deliver the sugar to the system, right? And that's all fine and dandy. That's all a good system. We need glucose. The brain needs glucose. The body needs glucose. Your cells need it. They all use it for energy, and they all are receptive to insulin because that's what's transporting the energy. But when we're spiking our sugar so high all the time, insulin gets trained to be high. And then sometimes it goes way higher than the food we eat because we've taught our body that we're going to inundate it with all of this sugar. So breads, pastas, rice, cakes, cookies, ice cream, candy bars, chips, all of the stuff that we all eat. I'm not perfect. I do it too. That causes this spike of glucose, causes a spike of insulin. And if we do it long enough, the insulin learns to stay high because it's ready. It's doing its job. It's like, I'm going to be ready. This person's going to eat again. I'm going to have to be up here. So I'm going to do that. But then we end up with something called, I'm not being very quick about this. We end up with something called hypoglycemia. Or reactive hypoglycemia. And I said that in a forum the other night and somebody got all triggered and panicked. So reactive hypoglycemia is normal in people with blood glucose regulation problems. The hypoglycemia, somebody said they got down to like 40, 47 and they were still okay. Dr. Bickman, who wrote this book, Why We Get Sick, says you can go to 60 if you don't have headaches, if you're not feeling faint, if you're not having, this like I want to pass out and I'm just too tired to do anything. If you're just cold and some of those things, it's okay that you drop down to 60. That reactive hypoglycemia is a reaction because your high blood pressure is your high insulin is so high that when you do have sugar, it delivers it immediately. So you hit your bloodstream with sugar, your insulin goes, oh no, not today, and it delivers all of that, and now you have this deficit of blood sugar even though you just ate, because insulin is overreactive, but at the same time, I'm going to tell you that your cells are resistant. So where did all that sugar go? Well, Some of it goes into your liver. We're going to talk about liver next week. Some of it goes into your fat cells. Some cells do overuse that energy that gets taken in, and we'll talk about some of those when we get to vascular issues today. Some of the other ones we're not going to cover in depth are skin tags and those dark skin patches. Those cells are taking up too much insulin, and that's how that happens. Get rid of the excess insulin and those problems go away. I had both skin tags and dark skin rings on my neck. They're all gone. All I did was address the insulin. Okay, so insulin resistance, too much blood sugar driven from too much food that converts into sugar too quickly, causes the high levels of insulin, causes insulin resistance. Now, we always talk about how insulin resistance is, or I always talk about it, how it's at the root of prediabetes and diabetes. So you're insulin resistant before you get to be pre-diabetic. You're insulin resistant before you get to be diabetic. Why is that? Why is nobody catching this insulin resistance? Because you could be insulin resistant for 10, 15, 20 years for a very long time, causing all this havoc in your body before you ever get the diagnosis of prediabetes. And that's what happened to me. Okay, I was having all the symptoms. My blood sugars were being drawn. They were always normal. My lipids were always normal, but I was sick on the inside. And then one day it tipped and everything started getting bad really quickly. So when insulin can't get all of this energy into all of the cells, it starts delivering it to your fat cells. And some of us have fat cells that just grow and shrink depending on the fat cells you were born with. Some of us will duplicate fat cells and create more when the fat cells feel like they're getting full. So when insulin can't deliver energy to the cells, it's going to deliver it to the fat cells. Now you're gaining weight. Now you're having those problems. But if you have the type of fat cells that replicate like little bunnies, your blood sugars are never going up because it's getting stored and you're blowing up, right? So those blood sugars don't show up until your fat cells, whether you have the kind that just blow up and shrink or you have the kind that replicate, until they get sick of the insulin too. And they're like, insulin, like I can't take any more of you. You're putting me at risk now. And your fat cells will say that. And now they're either rejecting the delivery of the insulin or they're just letting it spill back out into the bloodstream. Now your blood sugars are going up. Now you get diagnosed with diabetes. Now you're having those problems, but you've been insulin resistant the whole time. Okay, yeah, Melba. So I know liver and gallbladder is one people want to talk about. So Melba says, talk about liver soon. She lost her gallbladder. Now she's worried about her liver working overtime. You guys, I'm going to stop and say this really quickly. If you've lost your gallbladder, you must use some bile salts when you eat, because otherwise your liver is working overtime. Okay. The ones I use are in my recommendations page. I don't get paid for them. I'm not a rep for them. That's just what I use. So you must use some bile salts if you have no gallbladder. That's not a question. It's not a, I invite you to. It's not a, if you would like to. It's not a, any of that. It's a, you must use bile salts if you have no gallbladder. Okay, so insulin resistance. We kind of understand now why our blood sugars don't go up, why all of that isn't happening. But why? I've kind of leaned into that it's our food, right? And I talk about this every day, and I will continue to talk about it every day until all those health and fitness gurus who know nothing about metabolism shut up. Because if you're told that you need to eat every 2 hours to rev up your metabolism, I'm going to tell you, all of the experts on metabolism will tell you that that is so bad for your metabolism. Eating every 2 hours is killing your metabolism. What you're doing is you're training your body to live off of glucose. It never switches to burning fat for fuel. So you're not metabolically flexible. Now when you have times when you need to access the fat, your body goes, what? What is this? What are you talking about? Feed me. You've always been feeding me constantly. Now you want me to burn fat. Now there's no food available and I don't know what to do. So now you're going to get sick and you're going to have that reactive hypoglycemia and maybe you're going to get really sick. You have to be metabolically flexible to be able to utilize the fat stores that are there, to burn off excess cells that need to die and go away, all of that. But if you're feeding your body constantly sugar and keep insulin spike time, that can never happen. And that's what's happened to most of us. We bought into the eat every 2 hours thing. And I'm going to ask a question. Hey, good morning, Florida Cop. and welcoming everybody who's coming in. So some of you already know, and some of you may have an idea, but let's stop and think about it. If we're being told to eat every 2 hours, who benefits from that? If it's really not helping our metabolism and making us sick, there's one major industry and a second one behind it that benefits from you eating every 2 hours. If you guys think you know who it is, type it in the stream. I'd love to know who you think. Yeah, Florida Cop got it, nailed it on the head. You guys, do you know that? Do you know who's pushing this eat every 2 hours narrative? Who benefits from that? Who flourishes when you're eating every 2 hours, when you're eating all the snackety snacks, when you're eating all the so-called high fiber foods and the high protein and the keto and the whatever the trend is? Yeah. So it's the food industry. And absolutely, when you're overeating this food that's just filled with crap and it's not nutritionist and it's not nutritious and it's not giving you everything you need in the way you need it, then guess what? You get passed off to the healthcare industry and you get medications. Now, if food was the problem in the first place, why would we ever think that medications are going to fix it? Okay. There are places for medications, and we'll talk about that, but it's not to do with insulin resistance. So one thing I want people to know is if we've gone over that insulin resistance is causing the problem, if the high levels of insulin are causing all these problems, and you now go to the doctor and you say, hey, okay, well, I'm diabetic. And the doctor says, okay, we're going to give you insulin shots because you need insulin to get rid of this blood sugar out of your system. What? Too much insulin is your problem in the first place. Yep. Melba says the companies you're buying their prepackaged foods from. Yeah, those guys are the ones benefiting from you eating every 2 hours. We don't need it. There's absolutely nothing that says that we have to eat that much. We have never eaten that much in time. In history ever. We've never had this amount of food available. We've had times where we feast really well and then we have no food. And so yes, it's normal to store fat because our body's preparing for those times when we don't eat, but that's not the world we live in now. So we have to kind of tweak what we're doing so that our body can deal with it. Genetics don't change as quickly as our food and our social environment has changed. And part of it is what they're putting in the food. I agree with that. Part of it is what they're stripping out of the food. That's more where I'm going to focus. So yes, I agree with the stuff they're putting in the food, especially the packaged foods. You guys, tapioca starch to help you think that your gluten-free bread is more like gluten, and it's going to spike your blood sugars higher than sugar. A number of things that they're putting in there are actually causing you more harm than good, but it's being packaged to you as healthy. It's being packaged to you as the thing that's going to save you, but it's sending you more to the medication side. So rheumatoid arthritis, I wanted to come back to that. Cotton Valley, I will write that down. I'm trying to deal with one thing a day, but yes, rheumatoid arthritis is linked. I'd like to get into that deeper, but I want you guys to understand I am just a normal person like you. Some of the stuff is there. It's just buried a little deeper, so I've got to go back and go, okay, what's all the stuff there? Today I'm focused on vascular and MS, but yes, there's a link between rheumatoid and osteoarthritis. I lost 3 joints, and I will say this much about it, okay? And then we'll get into it deeper next week. I'll make some notes. But so I had 3 joints replaced, right? Both hips and 1 knee were replaced. My other knee was supposed to be replaced in 2022. It was so bad that I had crutches, I had a walker, I had disability plates, I couldn't go up and down stairs, all of that. 2022, that next knee was supposed to be replaced. It never got replaced. It's healed up. It doesn't pop. It doesn't click. It doesn't hurt. I can kneel on it. I can bend it. I can work with it. Everything is fine in that knee. How did that happen? Because I got my insulin levels under control, because I got all of that under control. So the inflammation and the oxidative stress and all of that started to leave my body, and now my joints could regenerate. I went to so many doctors as I was losing the other 3 joints that said, hey, your joints can regenerate, but nobody really had a plan to tell me how to make that happen. They said it can, but nobody told me how. Now I know that simply getting my insulin under control, getting that back down so that all of that inflammation starts to leave, all of the oxidative stress, all of that starts to get out of the body, now my body can heal. It has an environment where it's healthy and it can heal. So we'll talk about rheumatoid arthritis next week too. So liver and gallbladder, kidneys is tomorrow, and then I'll do arthritis next week, rheumatoid and osteoarthritis. All right. So you guys, yeah, staying away from packaged foods. So the other thing, and I'm going to talk about a few things right now. Then we're going to get back into some of these links and issues. But so we all understand, right, that our food is causing the problem. It's not your fault. It's the food that you're being given, whether it's the food that's grown. Like we all know that our cattle is being injected with stuff, that they're being fed. Look, if they're being fed the same grains that we're being fed and we're expecting to stay healthy, there's a problem. But how do we do it? We all can't homestead and do that. That's not the world we live in. We have to protect ourselves where we can. So yes, I do some supplements, but there's 6 things that I do that help me with all of this, okay? And I'm not perfect. We're going to talk about that. I am not perfect. I'm not strictly carnivore. I'm not strictly vegan. I avoid packaged foods. I avoid some of those other foods. I have not eliminated them. So we need to understand that. I want you to know you can have a real life and live with the what's available today. We just have to make some adjustments. So boss, you just ordered yesterday. I don't know. I haven't had a chance yet to look in this morning and see where you're at. Generally, it's 3 to 5 days, 3 to 5 business days, and you should have your order. Once in a while, depending on the carrier, we use FedEx. Sometimes, for whatever reason, it takes them 10 days. We guarantee you'll have it in 10 days, but it's generally 3 to 5 days. I'm up in Maryland. I think there's been one time it took 10 days. The rest of the time, it's about 5 days for me to get my order. So that's about the time. I hope that helps. So, and you're going to be getting text from me this morning. I just haven't sat down to do that yet. I've been up since 5, but my live comes first. So what I'm talking about, first of all, I'm going to talk about the system that I use, but I want to give you guys 6 pillars to help with all of this. I'm not familiar with a digestive supplement, so I will look into that and see, and that's interesting. You guys, I love when you guys bring me new stuff too, because it helps. I tend to get laser focused. So I'm going to write that down and I'll take a look at it. All right, so the 6 pillars I'm going to talk about, let's see if I can get through them quick. Florida Cop, you've been with me for a while, But yeah, bile salts are necessary. If they're included in the EMA digestive stuff, good. But if they're not, you got to have the bile salts. I usually start at 8:30. I've been trying to start at 8, but man, no matter what I do, it just doesn't happen. So 8:30 is what we're going to call it, okay? All right, so where were we? We were talking about the 6 pillars. Right, we're going to rapid fire through them, then I'm going to come back and explain them. By the way, there's an ebook that goes over all of these 6 things. It's free, you guys. Just download it. It's free to you. It's my gift. Like, I spend more time educating than I spend selling, and that's because I really care about your health. So download the book. All right, fiber first before you eat, every time you eat. I haven't gotten into why, and we're going to get into that. Then you want to prioritize protein. Florida Cop knows this. So protein, by the way, and I'm going to cover that. I'm going to get through these. Fiber first, prioritize protein, fill with healthy fats. And we're going to talk about what those are. You want to, they are not the same. So bile salts are not the same as digestive enzymes. No, they're not the same. So then you're going to limit your carbs. Okay, limit them. So and we're going to talk about what carbs are too and all of that. Then the next thing, so fiber, protein, fats, limit your carbs, do some intermittent fasting, some time-based eating. Give your body a break from the constant onslaught of insulin. That's what we're doing when we're fasting. It's not about calorie reduction. It's about giving your body a break from the insulin. Then you've got to move your body. How many of you guys sit at a desk like me? I tend to get locked into this. I tend to get hyper-focused. And all of a sudden the day's gone by and you've been on your butt all day in front of a screen and you haven't gotten any exercise. Your body's not built for that. Okay. I don't care if you, when you get up for lunch, if you go for a walk, if you do some simple qigong movements. Gosh, I gotta remember to get those up. There are some simple, very simple movements you can do that get your body moving, that get your heart rate up, that get your muscles, give your whole body. But better yet, do some weight bearing exercise. Now, if you can't get to the gym, if you can't afford a gym, find, put on a backpack, put some weight in the backpack. I don't care if you pack it full of clothes and shoes that make it weigh 30 to 50 pounds, and you walk around with that, and you do air squats out in your living room, or squats off the couch, or pick it up and deadlift it, whatever. Just do some weight bearing exercise. Be creative. There's tons of videos out there that will tell you how to do it. Fiber. So I don't eat in the morning. Now let's talk about that too. Why fiber? That's good. A good question. So before you eat, every time you eat, you should be getting in fiber. And why? Fiber is one of the main things that's been stripped out of our food. Fiber slows down the delivery of sugar into the system so that you're not having these high rapid insulin spikes. But it's been stripped out of our food, and that's why we're getting sick, because the sugar is just hitting your bloodstream unmediated and like a freight train. So we want to time release and slow down the sugar. Fiber has to come first. And again, even if you're eating steaks and chicken and stuff, part of that gets converted into glucose. I don't do carnivore, so I can't get into that. So we're going to talk about that, the fiber supplement I use, which is scientifically designed, not just marketed, not just, oh, we have a fiber supplement, we're going to slap a label on that says it reduces blood glucose. There's been studies on this that shows it reduces a blood sugar spike by 20%. We're going to go over that. I'm missing some props. I love you guys over on Facebook. So Melba said it's high to buy and they make money, right? The processed foods. Pamela, loads better thanks to this live. Love you all. I'm in control again. Bile salts, I have an issue with. Well, let's talk about that, and we'll talk about that probably, we're going to do that Monday. We'll do liver and gallbladder Monday. So your cough, when you eat, you get a cough. Yeah, so you need to do bile salts when you eat, Pamela, and that has nothing to do with my system. But man, yeah, you guys, by the way, gallbladder issues are highly linked to insulin resistance. If you want to save your gallbladder and not go through what we're going to talk about on Monday, which causes a ton of other health issues, start paying attention to your insulin resistance. Florida cop beans are good, but most are high in carbs. Now, I was listening to Dr. Bickman talk with Drew Pruhoet, and he was talking about carnivore, not like only meat, but how we need animal protein as our protein, and why things like pea proteins and plant proteins are not as good for us. And I don't have all of those answers. I'll try to get that, post some of snippets from his video so you guys can understand that. I'm on board with that. Like I love eating fruits and vegetables, but I understand that the way our body metabolizes protein, it metabolizes it better from meat sources. That's going to be inflammatory to some people. And if you don't feel that way, that's fine. Do your vegan diet. But for me and most people, that's how it's going to be. All right. Okay. So those 6 simple tips. Now the fiber, which leads into the system I'm doing. We'll just dive into that. What I do. You guys see me drinking this tea. We talked about multiple sclerosis. We talked about vascular issues. We haven't talked about vascular issues yet. We talked about brain issues and inflammation and oxidative stress. And I've been doing a series of videos. Number 2 went up last night. Number 3 benefit of this tea is going to go up tomorrow. But there are a lot of benefits. So far, we've gone over inflammation and energy. But this tea gives me energy in the morning. It doesn't break my fast. It helps me with oxidative stress. It has anti-cancer properties. It has those antioxidant properties, anti-inflammation properties. It does a lot for my body other than look good in my cup, other than taste good when I drink it. It's also helping with my metabolic health. So when I'm in a fasted state, it's shutting down my hunger. I don't feel hunger right now at all. And it's helping me burn fat for fuel by allowing ketones in my body to be kicked up. Ketones are just little messengers that are saying, hey, there's no food in her belly. and there's fat all over, and we want to have some energy. So we're going to go, let's go use up that fat. That's what ketones do. They're like, oh, glucose is gone. Let's go get fat. But guess what? Sometimes you guys, when you're fasting, your blood glucose levels goes up because what is fat? It's stored glucose. So when those ketones go out and say, let's pull this fat out, we're going to put it back in the bloodstream and we're going to deliver it as energy. Yep, there's a little bit of sugar, glucose in that. So your blood sugars are going to rise and fall as you're fasting, and that's normal. Okay. So I do that tea in the morning. It's helping me with the fast. It's giving me mental clarity and energy. I haven't talked about adrenal fatigue because people hate that term, but that's the term that I'm going to use. I haven't had that for the 2 years that I've been doing the system. Then when I am ready to eat, which I'm changing up my timeline of eating, I'm eating earlier in the day, and we'll go over why, then I have this. So look, do I have time to go find all the right not all right, fibers and whatnot before I eat every day and fix it? And if I'm at my kid's house or traveling or whatever, have all of that available? No. So I rely on this. Do I try to get it in Whole Foods? Yes. The truth is, most of us need to get in 30 to 40 grams of fiber. According to scientific papers, the average adult is getting in 10 to 15% of 10 to 15 grams of fiber in their day. We're half of what we need, not just for the blood glucose regulation, but for our gut health, to help things like Crohn's and IBS and all of that. We need fiber. This gives me 5 grams, but it's specific fibers that are also helping with my blood sugars. So it's helping with my blood sugars, it's helping with my lipids, it's helping me build a healthier gut microbiome. Take Monjaro, it fixes all your issues. Really, because I know so many people who've been on Monjaro, got sick, gained their weight back because they didn't address the root cause. Monjaro doesn't address the root cause. It makes you sick a little bit, does all these other actions in your body that I'm not going to get into right now. I am not a proponent for medications. I hate those medications with a passion. I've seen so many people damaged by them, so many people who've gained their weight back from that or gastric bypass or whatever, because you guys are looking for a quick fix that doesn't address the long-term issue. So it doesn't address the root issue that we have. So it's a combination, you guys. If you're just looking for mental health properties like the MS, this can help. But if we're looking at insulin resistance, do the 2. Why? This is helping with metabolism. It's helping with, it's actually helped my heart rate. It's helping with energy and all of that. I drink it in the morning during my fasting period. It helps me with my hunger. This is helping regulate the blood sugars that are causing the problem. Okay, so this I just mix up in a bottle. You get a bottle, by the way, that looks like this. So I mix my water up to about here, so I don't mix a lot of water. Dump this in, shake it up, drink it. 10 minutes later, I'm eating. I'm good. My blood sugar doesn't spike, or it's 20% less of spike. So can I still have cheesecake once in a while? Yeah, I don't do it anymore because I just don't have the need for it. But can I have those treats once in a while? Yes. I just drink this beforehand. So for me, I've learned I drink this before I eat, any time I eat, not just the twice a day, but any time I eat. So it's a system, a tea in the morning, a pre-meal drink before your first 2 biggest meals of the day, and that's it. The tea, you can find it in my profile. So you just go tap on my profile. When the white box below comes up, tap on that, and there's the tea in there and the whole system in there. It's a yerba mate tea that's highly purified, highly concentrated, so it's about 375 times more potent than a normal tea. So you can go get bagged tea and you can go get yerba mate tea, and you're going to get the toxins and the pesticides and all of that, and you're going to have to do about 375 bags of those to get what's in this little packet that I just mix in water, hot or cold. So, yeah, Caitlin, probably over 140, right? 60 to 120, 130 is about where it should range. But yeah, definitely if you're going over 140, that's a pretty big spike. Yep, Florida cop. So there's been a couple comments. If you're still talking about Manjaro, I invite you to do yeah, no, Monjaro does not fix those things. If food is the problem, medication is not fixing it. It may force your body into doing some actions that help it look like those A1C numbers are better. But the minute you get off that medication and go back to eating the way you were eating and not understanding the fiber and stuff that's causing the problem, you're going to go back to the problem. But now have you not seen all the issues that have come out, the lawsuits that have come out about gallbladder issues, about pancreas issues that are happening with that drug? If that's what you choose that, but not on my page. Not on my page. I'm not going to give somebody I'm not going to recommend something to somebody that is going to cause all those issues. I've had people call me and tell me their thyroid was damaged. I've had people call me and tell me they've had gastroparesis, which is one of the big issues with it, freezes up your colon, and that's devastating and deadly. It's not fixing anything. It's like this. Medications, for the most part, are a crutch. So medications are, say you break your leg. This is my favorite analogy right now, my analogy of the week, the month, the whatever. You break your leg. You go into the doctor and the doctor goes, oh, your leg is broken. You want to walk? I'm going to give you a crutch. Now you can walk, but your leg's not fixed. Or do you want to go to a doctor who says, okay, that leg is broken. We're going to set that leg. We're going to cast that leg. I'm going to give you a crutch in the meantime until you can start walking again. But guess what? The cast is going to come off and you're going to walk again without a crutch. That's how I want to live. I don't want to have the crutches all the time. I don't want to have the stuff that's leaving me damaged and hurt, but making it look like I'm okay. That's what those drugs are doing. Hashimoto's, so if you have inflammation and autoimmune disorders, look, what I can tell you is this. You normally go up to 120, 130, and then drop to 55. Constant headaches, endless fatigue, also have Hashimoto's. What are the 8s for in my life? Abundance. Plain and simple, abundance. Abundance. This is my year for abundance. Look, we're gonna stop. Yeah, no quick fix, Melba. You're not seeing all the comments. You're watching from, I'm on TikTok. That's where most of the comments are. Terry, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read them out so that you guys can see them or hear them. But yeah, not all the comments are showing up here because I'm on like 4 or 5 platforms all at once. Now, we're going to stop and talk about the 8s. Look, and I had a friend call me on this yesterday. Like all of us, we have bad things happen and we're focused on, oh my gosh, I was so hurt and these things happen and whatever. And she was like, stop it. Focus on the positive. Well, all I know is that I'm forward focused this year. 8s are a number that I've always loved, and it is about abundance. And I'm not talking about just wealth. I'm talking about in my family, in my friends, in my relationships, in my health. I am allowing abundance into my life, and I'm allowing it into your lives as well. So that's what the 8s are. Last year was rough on me, you guys. We're going to dive into, we haven't gone over the things I was supposed to, but Melba asked about liver and gallbladder. I'm not going to go into depth in that, but what I want you to understand is my gallbladder was removed about 6 months after I started the system because it was already so damaged from insulin resistance that it was unsavable. I almost died from a blockage in my bile duct. I was septic. They said I was about 2 hours from death. When I got to the hospital, I was very sick. After my gallbladder was removed, I was fine. Or I thought I was fine until about a year later, I'm realizing now I'm having problems with weight. Now I'm having some of those thyroid symptoms again. Now I'm having really bad gastric issues, gastritis and whatnot. All of that started coming up last year. My insulin was still under control, but I'm having these other issues because my gallbladder was removed because my insulin had been out of control for so long. So we're going to talk about all that on Monday. But last year was tough on me. Last year was tough. I'm not going to lie. So this year I want to focus forward. I want to focus on all positivity. I want to focus on all the amazing, brilliant, wonderful, beautiful people who are coming into my life and my lives, and that I'm helping, and we're creating a community, and that's where I'm focused. All right. How's that? So Hashimoto's autoimmune disease. Florida, you're doing such a great job. So, oh yeah. So I just have a couple of people on my life who are trying to talk about medications, and you all know, if you don't know me, you will know this now. I am not a proponent for medications. Look, I worked in the medical field for years. I worked with doctors who didn't want big pharma in their offices. I worked for doctors who let big pharma in free reign. I had 2 family members who worked for big pharma. I am not a proponent of those medications. After seeing all the other side, look, big pharma medications, things like Mounjaro, Trulicity, Ozempic, semaglutide, all of that stuff. What you're not seeing is the long-term trauma. You're getting some weight loss. Woohoo! You're great. You lost your weight, right? Call me back in 4-6 years when you're having problems with your gallbladder, with your pancreas, with all of those other things that can happen. Not everybody, but a lot of people are having those problems. That's why there's such a prevalence of lawsuits for them. So I am not advocating for those medications for anyone on my life. Right? And doctors, look at, if you were on my live last night, I had a clinical nutritionist that I was streaming last night. She talked about how she worked with doctors, and they're admitting that they don't even know what insulin resistance is because they were not taught it in school. What they were taught in school is to give you these medications, because who funds those studies? Who funds those books? Who funds what they're learning in school? Big Pharma does. So they're not talking about these solutions because they're losing money if you're not using their drugs. And by the way, that one drug leads to another drug. I had a lady who came into our clinic. I did her intake, was doing her vitals, asked her about her medications, and in tears she hands me 2 bags of medications. It took me over half an hour. I was not able to get all of the medications in, even with an EMR that was popping up the medications like wildfire. I'm typing in these medications. I couldn't get them all in. But what I noticed after doing her intake was, okay, she had this issue. Here's the medication she's taking for that. But oh, shoot, the side effects, I know the side effects for that one. They're causing this, this, and this. And guess what? Now she's on this drug for that for that side effect, and she's on that drug for that side effect. And she said that. She was like, I was put on one drug and I started getting sicker, and then I had these other drugs. I'm getting fast talking because I'm getting inflamed. Wow. You guys, when you've been on the other side like I have, yeah, there's no, I mean, if the doctors are just trying to sell you a medication and get you out of their clinic because they don't want to do the education that I do every morning, and you want to go do that to your body, go do that. But the other people who want to deal with this once and for all, welcome in, because we're talking about it. No, it's not if you lose significant weight, gallbladder issues arise. You are not understanding physiology and what's happening to the gallbladder. Weight loss is not causing the gallbladder issue. The latent insulin resistance is, or there's another issue with your red blood cells that can happen, but most often it's insulin resistance. They did this to your mom. It was so frustrating. You had to advocate for her. Yeah. Right. So they're taught to treat symptoms and put Band-Aids on it, not fix the root cause issue. And that's what those medications are doing, is they're Band-Aiding it, but they're not fixing the root cause. So they're making the numbers look normal, but they're not fixing why the numbers were out of range. That's what those medications do. So Louise says she was given four medications in one appointment, and she was only in her 40s. So these teas help regulate your insulin resistance. Let's talk about why the tea and this work. And we're going to do it with the 6 simple tips I gave you. So Florida Cop kind of hit it. We're going to do some intermittent fasting, allow the insulin levels to get down. We're going to watch our sugars. I'm not going to tell you can never have the treats that you love with your family again. That's not what I'm here for. We're going to talk about how you can manage this and live a real life. You have no gallbladder, you're suffering from acid reflux, can't lose weight. We're going to talk about that more in depth on Monday, Heaven. Stick with me today. We're going to explain some of this stuff, but we're going to talk about that in depth and what happens to your liver and your gallbladder with insulin resistance. That acid reflux, so much. I'll come back to that. I got to answer this. So the tea in the morning shuts down my hunger, helps me burn fat for fuel, gives me mental clarity and energy. So it's getting energy to my brain. It's getting energy to my body. It's allowing me to use fat for fuel. And it does a whole lot more than that. I'm doing 13 different videos on the benefits of the tea alone. And it's highly purified, highly concentrated form of yerba mate tea. You get it in my profile link. No, the pesticides and stuff have all been removed. We're doing some intermittent fasting, and then we're having a fiber drink that's fiber, phytosterols, plant nutrients, and vitamins and minerals, all scientifically designed and studied to help your metabolism. There's a University of Sydney study that showed this fiber, not those other canister crap fibers that are one type of fiber. This fiber was proven, this specific one, proven to reduce a blood glucose spike by 20% when they were eating those highly refined carbs like white bread. This isn't even talking about what happens when we're doing more whole foods and natural foods, what's happening, what our blood glucose looks like. This is with those highly laden insulin spiking foods. That's what this was tested on. So a tea in the morning, a pre-meal drink before you eat anything, really. So it's a tea in the morning, a pre-meal drink before you have your first two biggest meals, and that's it. And then you're going to follow the 6 simple steps that I talked about, the 6 pillars. And what it does, what the guarantees are, it's going to help reduce your blood glucose, your A1C, your fasting blood glucose, your A1C, and your lipids in 90 days. If it doesn't do that, you get your money back. Okay, if you're not happy with it in 90 days, you get your money back. I have 2 teas going here. And look at, unlike those other things, it's food. I have 2 of these almost every day. There's been instances when, like, I have ADD, I have problems focusing, I will fall asleep if I have to sit still too long. So when I've been in training and whatnot, even sitting with Dr. Bickman, love him, but I'm drinking tea the whole time, like, keep me awake. But it's food, so it's not harming my body, it's adding health to my body. I've had like 5 of these in a day, completely fine. I've had up to 5 of these in a day, depending on what's going on. When I was traveling a lot, I took a break from traveling because I got worn out. But when I was traveling a lot, and I'm with friends, and they're wanting to take me to these great places, and they want to show me all the stuff, and we're a society built around food. I'm like, okay, we're going to go to Buc-ee's or whatever in Texas. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. And she wanted me to try this. So I just have this. We're a couple hours later. We're going someplace else. We're having an appetizer. We're all chit-chatting. I have this before the appetizer. It's about an hour before food comes. So then we're having dinner. I have it before dinner because I want to regulate my blood glucose. It's food. It's not like I can just do one in a day where like I'm taking a pill of berberine in the morning. It's not regulating the sugar that's coming into my body later in the day as it's coming in. This is regulating as you're eating. So 10 minutes before, that's what it does. Guaranteed to do that. A ton of studies on it. So that's where we're at. In my bio, under the red lights, you'll see the link. I will put the link over here in Facebook. So tried 3 of those drugs, and all 3 would paralyze my colon. Colon is where diseases start, Melba says. So I want to talk about that. So you have no gallbladder, you're suffering from acid reflux, and you can't lose weight. Whew, that's a lot, right? Understand that insulin resistance is probably why you lost your gallbladder, why you gained weight, and part of the reason why you're having acid reflux. So gastroparesis is typical with diabetics, right? Why? Because we talked about nerve issues yesterday. It's impeding your nerve pathways. So now they're not functioning like they're supposed to. Your colon can't contract and empty like it's supposed to. Acid reflux, you have this stomach full of acid. When you eat, that acid kicks up to digest, but it's supposed to go back out the bottom side. But because your stomach and your colon is paralyzed, because there's nerve damage, because of insulin resistance, it's not going anywhere. And all that acid is poking back up into your throat, and it's eroding into your esophagus, and it's causing all those issues. That's true for a lot of people. I can't say that it's true for you. So I want to be careful. I'm not trying to diagnose you, but just in an overarching, that's what's happening. Okay. So gallbladder was probably lost because of liver being overloaded from some of this gastroparesis. Now, gastroparesis, that freezing, isn't just the stomach and the colon, it's happening in your gallbladder. So now you're eating sugars and foods that are converting into sugar too quickly, and it's causing a rise in your cholesterol. It's not the fats that are causing cholesterol, it's the sugar. So your gallbladder is getting overloaded with all these fats, and now it can't contract and squeeze all of that back out. So now it's sitting in there creating a sludge, which eventually crystallizes and causes gallstones. Now you have a problem. You lost your gallbladder. What was the start of it? Was it a medication? Did Monjaro fix any of that for anybody? Did Monjaro like stop all of that? Or is Monjaro causing more gastroparesis for most people? No, insulin resistance did. It's the food that we eat and why our food has changed that's caused the problem. Okay. So thank you, Melba. She said, well said. Why are you stuck on Prilosec for the rest of your life? What are the bile salts I use there? If you go to my profile up here, this is not all just a sales page. There's a bunch of help in there. All the other platforms I'm on as well are up there. But there's a my recommendations page, the glasses I wear, all of that stuff. You guys can find all of that there. I just use NutriCost bile salts, but I think Dr. Berg has bile salts that are pretty good. I can't remember if Dr. Jockers has bile salts, but some of those guys have good bile salts as well. Just look for something without a lot of additives, but the ones I use are in there. Do you think this can replace diabetic medicines? Asking for your father trying to remove meds. So, EMSAs. So what happens is I've had a number of people, including myself, come off of those medications by doing this because we addressed the root cause, right? So I have so many people who've come off of Ozempic, metformin, all of those things by doing this and understanding that the food is the issue, a lack of medication is not the issue. And so I was diabetic type 2. My fasting blood sugars were 260 or higher. My triglycerides were like 197, really close to 200. My A1C was 7.4 and climbing. I started this 3 months later. My A1C was down to 6.3. 6 months later, my A1C was down to 5.3. Where the last labs I had drawn over a year ago, they were 5.3. My triglycerides were under 150. Everything on my lab panel was normal, including my blood pressure. That was never under control. I was on 13 different medications. I came off of all of those medications over 2 years ago and have never filled a prescription since. Okay. No prescriptions in my life. You don't find them here. Oh, I'm lying. I'm going to say it. I just was working with Dr. Jones, and although my thyroid hormones are all in normal range, there's one, and now that I'm understanding thyroid better, there was one that was a little bit low, so he did give me a natural thyroid supplement. So that's the only thing that I'm taking to help that one marker that's low so that my body can start to do what I do. Now, gallbladder, we're going to go over in detail on Monday, but I'll give you this hint. Gallbladder, having that removed affects your thyroid. Okay, so that's part of the weight issues. You're stuck on Prilosec. I don't see the answers. You got your ship tracking number. Yeah, so boss, when you get it, you're going to get my personal phone number. You're going to get all of that. Please text me. I'm going to send you a video on how to use the system. When you open it up and you want to go over it and you're looking at the box and you want to know how to do it, just text me. And as soon as I have a moment in the day, we're going to get on a call and I'm going to answer your questions. And then you have access to me. I had somebody send me texts at 2 a.m. Now, I'm not going to answer at 2 a.m., but when I wake up at 5 a.m. and I see them, I'll answer back. Okay? So that's the deal. I'm excited for you. Don't work for a 7-month, cannot get paid. I don't know what that one is. Okay, so how does having your gallbladder removed affect your thyroid? I'm going to talk about that in depth on Monday, but there are studies that show that the gallbladder being removed, it messes with your thyroid stimulating hormone, and so your ability to utilize the T3, T4, and so it causes problems with the thyroid and it causes some inflammation in your body. There's a whole big thing we'll go over Monday about the liver and the gallbladder. And I'll get into depth with that. Come back on Monday and I'll give you the answers and I'll try to do a video on that as well. You just click on it. Yeah, click on the ebook. You're going to have to fill out your email so I know where to send it, and then that's going to get sent to you, and then you use that. So the ebook, again, is the 6 simple steps to helping your insulin resistance. Fiber first, prioritize protein, fill up with healthy fats. You're going to get a list of fats. You're going to get a list of proteins. Limit your carbs. Would do some time-based eating and move your body. So it covers all of that. It's a very simple little book. By the way, the people who are on subscription with me I wrote a very short book, a little cookbook. Not that it's perfect. It's about how I eat because I get that question so much. So there's some very simple recipes in there. I love good food, but I love good food that doesn't take forever to cook or isn't too complicated. So if you're on subscription, you get a copy of that cookbook. I'm getting it set up to be auto sent to you guys now when you're on subscription. Everyone that was already on subscription got it. With that, you guys, some big news that has nothing to do with me or the system. By the way, if you're interested in the system I'm using, in my profile link under the red lights. But Dr. Bickman, this guy, and I will try to get a link to it if I can today, because I just saw it before I hopped on. This guy who wrote this, he has, let's see if I can put it up here. He has a new book coming out, and he's doing pre-sales on it. And it's like, this one is Why We Get Sick. His is a cookbook and a book on how not to get sick. So this talks about what happens, how we got here. His new book that's coming out, I'm so excited. I just saw it this morning. The first announcement came out about it this morning. He's going to have that cookbook and more information on all of the stuff I talk about. Please support that man. He is a pillar of what I talk about and why I got healthy. By the way, yes, I'm not going to be ashamed to say that Dr. Bickman, the man that I love so much for metabolic health, one of the top in the world, not in my mouth, but in everyone else's mouth about metabolic health, he helped produce these products with metabolism and insulin resistance in mind. So he does not work for the company anymore, but he had a hand in the science that went behind these as a metabolic specialist. Love him, love him, love him. I will do my best to get that link in my recommendations page. If you want his book, everybody go get it. I can't wait to see it. I love this book. I love this book. And you guys should be getting this too if you're really concerned about all this gallbladder. He goes over that in here. That's where a lot of my information comes from. Gallbladder, heart, liver, all of that stuff. He covers it in here. PCOS, hormones, aging, joints, all of it is in here. So get that book. I will continue to educate as I can. If you don't want to get the book, some people don't like to read. Guess what? I just got a notice. I'm supposed to be on a phone call. I got to head out. I will be back at about 8:30 in the morning. And let me see if I missed anything. So I didn't show you guys the book. I got so excited talking about it, I didn't even show you. Let's get this down. All right, so we're going to get rid of that. So that's the book, How Not to Get Sick. I will try to get a link to his pre-order special in my page today. Come back by this evening and it will be there. And yeah, if you guys are interested in all of that, do that. I think it's amazing. Again, I don't make money from that. That's just because I feel like it's such valuable information that I want you guys to have it, right? I want you to have the information I have. Okay, so Paula is asking where to purchase it on TikTok. You can get it in my profile. It's on my profile in any platform I'm on, but I know that gets confusing. So over on Facebook, YouTube, there's the link. You guys can just click on that link and get that there. The best platform to find me on is probably going to be TikTok if you have TikTok. That's where the most comments and stuff are and the most interaction. I'm always on live on Facebook, YouTube, and often on Twitter. I'm not live on Twitter today. But yeah, TikTok is by far the one that I'm on live most. Okay. Yeah, Jeep Girl, I'll try and get the links to that. Or you guys, I mean, I don't make anything off of that. Or you can find him on Twitter, Ben Bickman, Bikman, and just go get your pre-order in for that book. Monday, I will be here at 8:30. We're going to talk about liver, gallbladder. We're going to talk about why it's linking to thyroid, why you need bile salts, why this system that I'm doing can prevent someone else from that happening, and how it can help you. Look, I'm not having gastritis pain anymore. It took a year of me messing around with things, intermittent fasting, my food, all of that. But I use the system religiously, and my gastritis I don't have those. Like you guys, I was so sick. We'll talk about it Monday. But I was so sick. I had several nights a week where if you know, pain that was unbearable. I couldn't sleep, which raises your cortisol levels, which increases your insulin, which is causing more problems. Okay. 8:30, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:30. We're going to cover the liver, and I'm going to come back and go to those vascular issues, hopefully. Guys, I love your interaction today. Love it. I appreciate it. It's important because your questions are helping somebody else, and I thank you for that. But I'm going to hop off and go take this phone call. So we'll see you tomorrow morning, and thanks for joining me today. You guys have a blessed day. Bye, Melba, Terry.